Hi guys, my name is Onica Valle Cole, and I'm running for judge in LA County, and I want to tell you from my heart why I'm running for judge and a little bit about me and where I come from. I grew up in San Diego, California, but I also kind of grew up in Tijuana, Mexico. I am an American citizen born in San Diego. But my father had a dream, and that dream was to provide low cost or even free medical care to his patients. My family worked hard to make my father's dream come true. And so we helped my father open Dr. Cole's medical office in Southeast San Diego in the late 70s. We lived in Tijuana, Baja California, to save expenses. And we traveled across the border every day to go to school Monday through Friday. It was a long trip, but this is the way I grew up. My mother was my dad's nurse. My brothers were the janitor and the cleanup crew. I was the bookkeeper at 7.5 years old. Like many of you, we worked together to train me to issue checks, balance checkbooks, do some even computer programming. When my mom wasn't available, I became my dad's nurse. I was with my dad when we came upon a car accident and had to save a young man's life. That young man would later ask my dad and beg my father to help him die, because as a result of that car accident, that 10-year-old became paralyzed from the neck down. I began to understand then, at a very young age, the importance of mental health, how precious life was. I had a dream, and my dream started in a courtroom in San Diego, where I went with my classmates from Toller Elementary School, and we had an opportunity to see what it was like to see a courtroom in progress. We actually did a mock trial, and because I'm so know-it-all and bossy and ambitious, everyone chose me to be the judge. And I have to tell you, I fell in love with the idea of being the one who defended the Constitution, defended the vulnerable, and made sure that everything ran efficiently and fairly. Even as a young person from San Diego, I understood the importance of everyone feeling that they had a stake in the system. I began to read about court decisions, and at that time, the California Supreme Court was discussing issues like reproductive rights for young teens. I became a feminist in that era. I began to read then the San Diego Union Tribune, and I got really excited about the idea of becoming a judge. I graduated top of my class as valedictorian from Claremont High School, and I was also nominated most likely to succeed. I went off to Yale University, and I took 3 jobs my freshman year because I was going to work hard, like my parents and my family did, to make my dream came true. I graduated in 1993 with a degree in molecular biophysics and biochemistry. It was one of the newest and most complicated science majors that Yale was offering at the time. And I was one of the few women, and certainly one of the few women of color, who took on and surpassed that challenge. I went back home to San Diego and briefly went to medical school at UC San Diego School of Medicine. And while I loved the challenge of science and I love medicine, I loved helping people and knew my calling was to be a lawyer and ultimately a judge. I moved to Los Angeles, and I had the benefit of a tuition-free legal education at Loyola Law School in downtown Los Angeles. I was a Loyola scholar, which meant Loyola funded my education. To support myself, my living expenses, I became a substitute teacher with the Los Angeles Unified School District. And what I learned from that experience was how important education still was to not just myself as a teacher, but to also students. I then graduated and spent 4 to 5 years in private practice, gaining a lot of civil litigation skills before I joined the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office. And after 16 years there, I developed an expertise in prosecuting consumer fraud crimes. in particular immigration fraud, and protecting some of the most vulnerable members of our community. I took on people who felt comfortable preying on witnesses and victims, believing that they could be deported or removed or intimidated from coming to court. I have a lot of experience prosecuting domestic violence, animal cruelty, any type of fraud, and I even became a trainer invited to train other prosecutors in my office, investigators, and ultimately to other prosecutors from other agencies. I am the best experienced local candidate for office number 67. In 2016, I became a temporary judge with the Los Angeles Superior Court, and I have traveled up and down the county of Los Angeles from Onica Valley all the way down to South Bay to ensure that I had the training and experience to be the best judicial candidate. Vote for Onica Valle Cole for judge. I will be on your ballot on office number 67 as attorney/mother. Vote for Mom.